Now, with Year 7, Season 1, this is now the third season where we have had modifiers. So, if you have not been around the last three seasons, you might not know anything about what I'm about to talk about. So, what I'm going to do in today's video, we are in the PTS for Year 7, Season 1. What I'm going to do is I'll break down all of these modifiers, I'll show how they work, and I'll explain how these modifiers keep getting more and more fun. All they're doing is making your builds even stronger every single season. And I'm here for it. I actually love it. So, without further ado, here is your Year 7 Season 1 full breakdown of the modifiers. Here we go. What's going on, YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 PTS video. So sit back, relax, grab that popcorn. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. But it's time to go over the modifiers, and these will go live May the 27th. So I hope you get ready. Now, the new modifiers are way different than what we've seen, and they keep evolving every single season. For example, this season we're going to have more hostile modifiers and more active modifiers, but the global modifier makes it even more fun. And it's getting even more aimed at your builds and making your builds better, no matter what type of build you like to use. So, Year 7, Season 1, the global modifier is called Hardcore. Now, it has a hyphen in between there because it's all about your core attributes, meaning your firearms, your stamina, and your electronics. Now, the cool thing about this season's modifier is that it starts out based on your build. So if you go all red, you could already be near the max for your global modifier for that certain type of core. So if you're going all tank, you're going to be a crazy tank. If you're going all firearms, you're going to be crazy with the firearms. Same with electronics and your skill builds. This is perfect for helping your builds reach a whole new level of potential. Now, the passive modifiers, the active modifiers are all linked behind your seasonal journey. So it is behind your seasonal journey. Now, the way it is showing us right now is that at the start, here it is, Journey Mission 3, you'll start to get your modifiers. And then you'll get another one, Journey Mission 4, 5, 6, and so on. Now, they are changing up this journey before launch, but they wanted to show us at least, where some of these are going to be locked behind. Now, none of them are going to be behind the priority objectives, so it's all just based off of your journey and your journey missions. The global modifier will be forever active on your character unless you actually hold down deactivate and you deactivate it. But as long as you have it active, you can have that global modifier on forever, baby. And it's quite amazing. So what do I mean by these core attributes and based off of your builds and all this? Well, let's talk about hardcore, this global modifier. So you receive 3 different new attributes. So on top of your build now, you get 3 more stats. You get firearm, stamina, and electronics, no matter what your build is. However, based off of your build is where you start out on these, different types of attributes. So, there are 5 tiers per attribute. So, if you're running 5 firearms, you'll start at tier 5. If you have 2 firearms, you'll start at tier 2. If you have 1 firearm, you'll start at tier 1, and so on and so forth. If you're running a skill build, you might start, all the way at the beginning for firearms and stamina, but you might be already near tier 5 at the start with electronics. So depending on where you're putting those core attributes, like if you wanted to be a hybrid build, you could have a few into firearms, a few into stamina, a few into electronics, and every time you start playing, you'll already be at those tiers. But I don't think you should build around this global modifier. I think you should just take your normal builds and then just add it to this modifier, because no matter what, you're going to be able to get max electronics, max stamina, and max firearms, no matter what. So let me explain that really quick, because it's better to show you than to just sit here and talk about it. So whenever you go into combat, whenever you see new enemies, there will be certain icons over their head. So we'll just put this on whatever difficulty, run down here.
To find out what happened to the team that went to try to repair the main
And you can see it right here.
The federal shelter should be beneath your current position. Find a way down there, but proceed with caution.
So for each enemy you take out with those indicators, they will increase that attribute. Okay? Now you can look at my build right here. So I have a whole bunch of blues, a few reds, and one or two electronics. Now if I look at my build right here, it shows I have 1 electronic, I have 3 blue, and I have 2 red. So what it's doing, 3 blue, 2 red, 1 electronic. So it's counting my ninja bike as 1 yellow, and it's counting the rest of my build as normal. So the technician, the memento, all that is not going to mess with these modifiers. So it'll just show that up as a yellow. But you can see where my tiers are starting out just right here. It shows that I'm starting out at tier 2 for red, tier 3 for blue, and tier 1 for yellow. And then for every enemy that I take out with their indicators, it will then increase those tiers. So like I was saying, you could run an all red build and still spec into yellow if you take out the yellow enemies. And some of these enemies will have more than one of those icons over their head. So that's how this new modifier is going to work for your global modifier. So it's not that you need to spec into these attributes to make it work. You're going to be able to increase those attributes just by playing the game, because the enemies are going to be giving you those increases. So going back to your global modifier, it's called hardcore. All right. Now it says here that the scores baselines are affected by your gear. So like I just showed you, if you have the 2 blue, it'll show 2 blue. Now it also shows that they can be raised by eliminating enemies with the marks on their hostile countermeasures. And that's what I just showed you. So if they have a red, you can increase your red by taking out those enemies. Same with the blue and the yellow. Now, what do these give you? Well, first, firearms. So firearms will gain you crit chance. That does not count towards your cap. So now, the new cap for crit chance in the Division 2 will be 70. Because it shows you right here that the bonus for max will be 10%. So now you can have 70% crit chance on your build. And at tier 5, it will refill all of your ammo instantly. Pretty cool. Now for stamina, you gain bonus armor for every 300,000 damage you take. So as you take damage, you get bonus armor. This is crazy. So what it shows is it's 7.5% bonus armor for every 300,000 damage you take. What I've been doing with this is I've been using it with Intimidate, and every time they're shooting at me, I get bonus armor, and I get Intimidate for free without using Liquid Engineer, without using Adrenaline Rush or the Memento. You can now get bonus armor just from the modifier. So Intimidate builds are going to be key for Year 7 Season 1 because they're giving you bonus armor for free. All right? You got it? Pretty damn cool. Now, electronics. It says every time a skill is used, your other electronics cooldown is reduced. Now, at Tier 5, it says by 22.5%. So if you're using a skill, your other skill's cooldown goes by 22.5% every time. Crazy. Not only that, but it says once you reach Tier 5, all of your cooldowns are automatically reset. So it's giving you something for your DPS builds. It's giving you more crit chance. For your tank builds, it's giving you bonus armor. And for your electronics builds, it's giving you skill cooldown for your other skill. Now, this is just baseline. This is just what the global modifier is, and this is just what everybody gets day 1. The active and the passive modifiers, you have to get yourself. So let me go ahead and take all these off, because day 1, it's going to pretty much just look like this. And then you have to earn your active and passive modifiers. All right? So that's your global modifier in a nutshell. Talking about your hostile modifiers. So there are 3 different hostile modifiers this coming season. The first one is electronics mark. The marked enemy will now take 1/3 of the damage from skills and 1/3 of the damage to weak points, while their gadgets that they deploy will also take 1/3 of the damage. Eliminating or assisting eliminating in these enemies will give you electronic score. So for all of them that have the electronics mark, that's what it is. They take 1/3 of the less damage from skills, 1/3 of the less for weak points, but then they give you more electronics when you take them out. The enemies with the blue mark over their head, this mark gives them overheal. Not only that, but crit hit damage is reduced on those targets. So if you're running at them with a crit build, you're going to do less damage because they have the blue stamina mark. And then the firearms mark, whenever they have that red mark over their head, they will then have more weapon damage and movement speed. So that's kind of similar to how they were acting during the most recent season with the damage and movement speed. But then once you take them out, you get more firearms. And that's how the hostile modifiers are going to work. So I already showed you that. I already showed you how the global modifier is going to work. And you can see where the core attributes on your build dictate where you start with this global modifier. Pretty cool. Now, next up, we're going to talk about the active modifiers. Because this season, coming up, Year 7, Season 1, there will now be 5 active modifiers instead of 3. But 3 of these modifiers are the same. Let me just get it out there, okay? It might sound cool, you know, hey guys, we have 5 active modifiers instead of 3. But in reality, 3 of these are the exact same. It's just for different core attributes. That's all it is. It's still 3 different active modifiers. It's just that one of them has 3 variants. You have an assault, survival, and a broken link. So you basically have your attack link, your security link, and your recovery link. You know, basically, from Division 1 is what they were trying to do there, and it was pretty funny. But let's talk about it. So starting with the assault link, your firearms attribute is immediately set to Tier 5. For the duration of this ability, you gain weapon damage for every non-red core that you have on your build. So for example, you would run this one with a all blue build, and then all of a sudden you get all of that extra weapon damage for free. Not only that, but it says here that your attributes are frozen and all bonuses are multiplied by 4. And then your passive modifier values are then multiplied by 2. On activation, all allies within 10 meters will grant a boost to their firearms, and the modifier's duration is increased by 3 seconds for every ally that is nearby. Pretty damn cool. Now, the same thing is right here for stamina, and the same thing is right here for electronics. So that's why I was saying there are 5 different active modifiers, but 3 of them are pretty much the exact same. One is for firearms, one is for stamina, and one is for electronics. So the firearms one, the assault link, will give you weapon damage. The security link will give you armor, and the electronics will give you skill efficiency. All of those are very, very strong. Now, to the other 2 that are completely different, you have the broken link. Now, this one, on activation, it will freeze all attributes to their current score and multiply them by 2. Not only that, but your passive modifiers will also be multiplied by 2. And finally, we have the target rich environment. Now, this one, on activation, 3 enemies will be marked within 35 meters. Each of these enemies will have a different mark. For every 15 minutes, all your eliminations and assists will yield you 2 times the attribute score. Now, after the time is up, all the attributes are frozen, but then the bonuses are multiplied by 4 for 25 seconds. Passive modifiers are also multiplied by 2 for the same duration. I mean, these are all extremely strong active modifiers. Like the modifiers this year, or this coming season, is very strong. It keeps getting better and better for the user as these seasons are going on. But those are your 5 active modifiers, and you can only use one at a time. So for me personally, I would probably go with the broken link, just for me personally, because you can use that with any type of build, and it doesn't matter. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, as far as your passive modifiers, remember that there are 12 in total. Hold on, let's see here. 3, 6, 9. There's only 11 in total here. So we have 11 passive modifiers, and you can hold 3 at a time. So you have to really be strategic with your choices and make sure they go with your build. Because some of these are very powerful, but if you're not running the certain core attribute, it doesn't matter. So here we go. Starting at the top with extra padding. Now this one will grant you 5% protection from elites per blue core while at tier 5. So it will only work if you have a blue core attribute and your stamina is at tier 5. So if you're running a damage build or a skill build, do not use this passive modifier. It will not work. But for you tank builds out there, or even builds with 1 or 2 blues, you can still use this and get more protection from elites. Next up, we have hands-on. It says while electronics is tier 5, 50% of your current skill haste is added as skill damage. This is ridiculously strong. Ridiculously strong. Because all you have to do is have your skill build, and all you have to do is have it spec'd into skill haste. Because once you reach tier 5, you're going to get all of that extra skill damage for free. Because it's based off of your skill haste. So you run skill haste mods, you run a build with skill damage and skill haste attributes, and then by the time you hit Electronics 5, you get all that extra skill damage for free. It says on here that there is no cooldown, no anything. You just get it. So while you're at tier 5, booyah. Next up, we have Interference Blocker. So Interference Blocker, disrupt resistance, is increased by 10% for each electronics tier. I don't really understand why we would care about this one at all. I get the whole disrupt resistance thing for your skill tier, 10%. Okay, so if you're running, a tier 5, so you get 50% disrupt resistance. Okay, that's good for PvP, I guess. That could be cool. But then again, modifiers aren't in PvP, so GG's on that. So what are you really worried about getting disrupted from? What, hunters? That doesn't really count. I don't. There's no need for this one, in my opinion. In my opinion, nah, no one cares. Next up, we have loaded up. This one is banana pancakes. So loaded up, a quarter of your crit chance is added to your crit damage every time you reach tier 5 firearms. Stupid. That's cool. I like it a lot. And I'm here for it. I'm going to be using this one. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, next up, we have safety first. So, safety first, your hazard protection is increased by 7.5% for every stamina tier. Now, that goes up to 5, right? That's how they're doing this. It all goes up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So, all of these tiers only go up to 5. So, that means that 5, you're getting quite a bit of hazard with your tank. That's really strong. That's really strong. So all of a sudden, you could run this with, like, say, a Heartbreaker build, and then you could have all that hazard without speccing into the hazard. This could be ridiculously strong. So loaded up and safety first, I like a lot. Hands on, I like a lot. Extra padding, I like a lot. Now the interference blocker, not so much. Finally, under the simple category, we have specialized. So specialized, signature weapon damage is increased by 10% for every firearms. I can already tell you right now that this is OP. Because if you're running a sniper build, all right? You can go ahead and read my mind on this one. If you're running a sniper build, you're probably running it with all reds. If you're running it with all reds, you're probably going to have a TAC 50 with your sniper. And if you're going to have a TAC 50 with your sniper, you just got another 50% damage right there. That's stupid. Stupid. I don't know. As far as the hybrid category, first up we have a tier a day. For every tier in any attribute, you gain total health. Yeah. This one is dead on arrival. Just so you know. Dead on arrival. Because who in their right mind is speccing into health in the Division 2? And why? And who told you to do that? Because it sure is, it wasn't me. I can tell you right now that health is just as bad as, like, explosive resistance. These are really bad attributes to spec into. Because your health, it goes by really freaking quick. Where you are so much better off speccing into armor than you are health. There's no reason. I would never use this one. Ever. After that, we have a multitasker. So multitasker, while at tier 5 in all attributes, you receive an additional 7.5 weapon damage, 85,000 armor, and another skill tier. While at tier 5 in all attributes. So this is a nice little bump. I kind of like it. These numbers seem very small, and I think that +1 skill tier is way stronger than 7.5 weapon damage or 85,000 armor. So I think they should probably, if they're going to do +1 skill tier, then that should be 15% weapon damage and 170 armor. Because if you're going to do one core attribute at its max, you got to do the other ones. You see what I'm saying? This one's nice, but it's a little lackluster. Next up, under the hybrid category, we have supportive. Now, supportive as a passive modifier, this says while at least tier 3 in both stamina and electronics, your outgoing and incoming repairs are increased by 25%. This one, this one could be very fun for like a hybrid build where you could heal yourself and you're a little tanky and then put the rest into the damage. This would really, it wouldn't be bad. Now, again, all of these are just PvE only because you can't use modifiers in PvP. So this whole healing one, this one wouldn't be bad to throw on a healer build and then just have that increase to heals. It is nice. Next up, we have tech upgrades. So tech upgrades, while at least tier 3 in both firearms and electronics, your skill duration is increased by 25% of your crit hit damage. Interesting. Your skill duration. What this could do, potentially, I'm not going to use it and I don't recommend it, but potentially. What this could do is you could use this on like a capacitor turret drone build and then have like crazy high crit and then just run it with crit damage and like say skill damage, and while you're at tier 3 in both of those you get the skill duration. It's okay, but skill duration in my opinion is just not, it's not useful. It's really not. And finally, for our passive modifiers, we have the best kind of defense. So it says, while at least tier 3 in both firearms and stamina, you gain headshot damage for... Ooh, shit. Yo, that's stupid. All right, so listen to this, all right? This is really strong, ridiculously strong. So, there's a weapon called the Bighorn, all right? Now, the weapon called the Bighorn is really good, even if you use it with a tank build. Now, the Bighorn gives you 150% headshot once you're stacked up. And that's bonus. So this, what you could potentially do, is run 2 million armor, and then you get another 50. You get another 50 on top of that. That's crazy. So this is like promoting a tank headshot build, and that is right up the alley for a Bighorn build. I mean, you could go armor regen headshot all day with the Bighorn and using this. That is ridiculously strong. That's crazy. Not only that, but then you could get the free hazard, or you could get the free crit hit damage, or I don't know. There's some fun ones in here. It is pretty cool. But those are your passive modifiers. So if I were to run just a normal build, I would put on the Broken Link. And then for my passives, I would probably go with Loaded Up. And then I would go Multitasker. And then finally, I would probably... I mean, depending on my build. I mean, the last one is really dependent on your build. But I can safely say that I'll be pretty high in firearms and stamina already. So why not give me a little bit more headshot? So I'd probably go the best kind of defense, Multitasker, Broken Link, and Loaded Up to go with the new Global Modifier Hardcore. And that's just for like a standard like damage build where you're using a few blues, you're using a lot of reds, and you're doing some running and gunning. A lot of fun. But that, my dear agents, is the new Modifiers system coming to the Division 2 with Year 7 Season 1. All of this is set to go live on May the 27th. If you have any questions or anything like that, let me know now because we have only a few more weeks until we get our hands on this and the Battle for Brooklyn DLC. But that's it for me. I'm Kamikazevondoom. If you have any questions or whatnot, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one, all right? Take care of yourself, and peace out.